Hi there. Welcome to the Small Business Coffee Break, the series where we take a few minutes to work on your business, not just in it. Today we ask, why should you have your contracts reviewed? With Alex Barthet of the Barthet Construction Law Firm. Alex has over 13 years of experience helping contractors and construction businesses all over the state of Florida. So grab a cup of coffee and let's get into it.
You should absolutely have your contract reviewed by a professional, which typically constitutes two people, an insurance professional and a construction lawyer. Because when we get to the insurance section, which is sometimes it's a paragraph, sometimes it's a page, I actually reviewed a contract this week. The insurance section was 16 pages long. Just the insurance section, 16 pages. So, you know, in that section, I just commented the whole thing and say, send it to your insurance professional. So between insurance and a construction lawyer, you will cover your bases to make sure that the contract is
favorable from a you know, again, the purpose of this is to kind of guide
to make it more favorable. It's, you know, when a contractor hands you a 10, 20, 30 page contract, you know, you're never going to make it fair. You're just going to make it less unfair. And what we're trying to do as the lawyer is add pockets of places in the contract that give us an opportunity to argue about something later. You know, when you get that contract from a contractor, it is completely one-sided. So what we want to do is we want to add little pieces of information. We want to salt the agreement with places where if something goes wrong, we can argue about something. It's not going to swing the pendulum back from favoring them to favoring you.
Right.
It's just that now if a problem happens and it involves that section that we got to touch, we can argue about something. Well,
Right.
You didn't give us the 7-day notice or something like that.
Right. And well, I mean, and that lends to, you know, it's funny how some of these things you say are common. So if there was 3 things that you can say, that 3 addendums or 3 things that should be looked at, maybe changing on a common contract, what would you say those were?
Oh, so this is easy. If you are a subcontractor, the 3 in this current market, and probably for a long time to come, the right to stop work if you're not getting paid, increasing the time and limiting the risk for a back charge or default, so increasing the notice and opportunity to cure. And then number 3 is material price escalation. Those 3 things currently are probably the big ones. We could talk about some other ones, but those are definitely
the 3 big ones that you're seeing. Material price escalation. In fact, I think I attended one of your seminars specifically on that subject, and was blown away as to how much opportunity could exist in a contract to be able to renegotiate some of those costs, because nowadays sometimes you don't know when you're going to get it. Sometimes you don't know what the price is going to be.
Correct.
Sometimes you order it without a price.
I would tell you that's actually more common now. Many supply houses are telling their customers, we'll take the order, we'll place the order, but the price is the price that exists the day we ship it, which may be 6 weeks from now.
And it would be a completely different price than it is now, than it
Correct.
was 3 months from
I can't
now.
give you the price now. I can only give you the price in 6 weeks.
Wow.
Well, how do I order it? Well, if you don't order it, I can't even tell you what the price is. So I won't order it for you. So you have to take it on faith that when it comes, that's going to be the price.
And you're saying that you can favorably have language inside a contract that allows you to then go back and say, hey, look, this came in at an unexpected, you know, cost, and for these, I'm sure there have to be legitimate reasons, right? So these are like, oh, hey, I want to raise the price,
Correct.
But you know, this is, you know, the going rate was X number of dollars. Now it's 30% higher or 10% higher, whatever it is, and maybe that you can hopefully get some of that shared, some of that back.
Earlier in the year, let's call it January, you know, late 2021, very early 2022. That's kind of when everything started to come together with these problems with material price escalation in a way that was significantly impacting contractors in the market. So older contracts typically had a no escalation provision because that was standard in the market for decades. So it's hard to deal with those, but there are ways to deal with it. What we can do is link in the show notes to that seminar, which is on LinkedIn, on material price escalation. So, but now it's an open conversation. You know, when Lester Holt on the national news is talking about inflation, right? That's your open invitation to talk to the contractor and say, look, I cannot guarantee the price of PVC pipe in 12 weeks when you need this project done. So we need to deal with that in our contract. And contractors are receptive and they're dealing with that with the owners. So yes, there's definitely terms and conditions that you can put in your contract to give you the right to have a material price escalation. But just like not every words matter,
right?
And not every material price escalation clause is written the same way. So the fact that they say, okay, that's fine, we'll add one in, and they give you a paragraph and it says, you know, material price escalation, and you say, okay, well,
it must be good.
It must be good. I have seen many material price escalation provisions proposed by contractors to our subcontractor clients. And there are so many hoops that you have to jump through. It might as well be
not there.
Not there.
They gave it to you as a part of the negotiation process.
Correct.
But to be honest with you, it's not what you were looking for.
Correct. It is a provision that you could never achieve. So having an understanding of that is important.
Well, we actually saw that similarly in the insurance, really in the early aughts, right? So 2000 to 2010. Well, right before the bust, so say 2000 to 2006 or 7, a lot of housing was going up, and we were seeing contractors require, for instance, just very simply, additional insured status on a workers' compensation policy. It doesn't exist.
I was going to say, I didn't.
It doesn't exist. It's like asking for the sun to rise in the west or the sky to turn green or something like that. It's a thing, but it was there. And what we're noticing, what was essentially happening is that these contractors were delaying payment for 60, 90, 120 days.
Waiting for this document that
never existed, right? So it was written into the contract. It wasn't favorable to the insured. I mean, I call them insured, but you know, the contractor. And they're frustrated because they're not getting paid, and I get it. But this was used against them to delay payment.
Right.
Obviously, unscrupulous contractors, and I wouldn't say it was very common. But every so often you'd run across someone who was dealing with that, and you felt for them because you're like, kind of needed to look at that before you signed the paperwork, because they're just going to keep saying, if you can't, other agents are giving it to me. That's what they tell me. It's like, produce an endorsement. Please, for the love of God, produce the piece of paper. No one would ever come. Eventually they get paid. But those little things have a big effect. And let's keep the conversation going. If you have any questions you'd like to ask Alex, ask him in the comments, or his contact information is in the description. If you have any questions you'd like me to ask Alex or any other professional in their field, my contact information is also in the description, and I'm always available via DM. See you next week for another cup of coffee and more questions answered.